we all remember the terrifying reveal of Black Frieza at the end of the Morrow and Granola sagas, where the cosmic tyrant stepped out of a 10-year hyperchamber to completely trivialize Ultra Instinct Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta with a single blow. But the true horror of that form wasn't just its speed. It was the calculated patience behind it. Frieza didn't just train to surpass the Saiyans. He trained to surpass the gods themselves, developing a form that doesn't rely on divine energy, but on pure, weaponized mortality. Imagine a timeline where Frieza doesn't wait for Goku and Vegeta to settle their scores on the planet Cereal. Imagine what happens if the tyrant launches an unannounced, preemptive execution strike directly on Earth, while the sea fighters are completely off guard. The arrival does not begin with an armada or a warning siren. The sky above Capsule Corporation simply splits open as a single, sleek black and silver vessel drops out of a silent slipspace folding maneuver, hovering directly over West City. There are no thousands of foot soldiers marching out. The ramp lowers, and a single, low-frequency pressure wave ripples across the planet, immediately short-circuiting every piece of technology and defense array on Earth. Goku and Vegeta, who are currently sparring in the courtyard, drop out of their base forms instantly as their bodies are violently driven to their knees by the sheer, crushing weight of the ambient gravity generated by a single presence. Frieza steps out of the vessel, but he is no longer wrapped in the golden, shimmering aura of his previous evolution. His body is a matte, unreflective obsidian black. His shoulder plates and chest armor gleaming with a cold, metallic purple sheen that seems to absorb the very light around him. He does not scream, and he does not mock them. He hovers a few inches off the ground, looking down at the two pure-blooded Saiyans with eyes that are completely dead, devoid of his usual theatricality, whispering that 10,000 years of ancestral fear is about to be compressed into a single afternoon. Vegeta is the first to shatter his own psychological paralysis. The sight of his lifelong tormentor completely breaks his restraint, and he forces his body directly into his maximum ultra-ego state, his eyebrows vanishing, his aura erupting into a violent, destructive purple flame. He launches himself forward, throwing a massive, planet-shattering Hakai punch meant to erase the tyrant from existence. But Black Frieza doesn't even lift a guard. He takes the absolute maximum output of Ultra, ego directly to his sternum. The resulting explosion vaporizes the surrounding city blocks, turning the concrete to glass. Yet, as the smoke clears, Frieza is standing in the exact same spot, his obsidian skin completely unscratched, his tail casually tapping against the ground. He looks at Vegeta and notes that destruction magic is very cute, but it still requires the user to touch the target, with a motion so fast that the human eye registers it as a localized tear in space. Frieza drives a single, straight finger into Vegeta's chest, completely bypassing his destructive armor and stopping the Saiyan prince's heart instantly, dropping his lifeless body into the dirt. Goku roaring in an absolute, primal panic, his hair instantly flashing a brilliant, transcendent silver as he accesses the perfect autonomous state of ultra instinct. The silver light fills the ruined sky, his body moving completely on divine reflex as he attempts to phase through Frieza's line of sight, throwing a barrage of invisible, high-tier air pressures. But Black Frieza's 10 years of isolated training were specifically designed to combat the predictable neutrality of the angels. Frieza anticipates the autonomous dodge, utilizing a localized, dense gravity cage that completely freezes the molecules of the air around Goku. For a single heartbeat, the divine warrior is stuck in place. Black Frieza steps into his blind spot, his hand wrapping around Goku's throat, lifting the savior of Earth into the air like a discarded toy. Frieza whispers that the gods taught them how to look like stars, but they forgot to teach them how to survive the dark. With a casual flick of his wrist, Frieza unleashes a burst of black kinetic energy that completely shatters Goku's ultra instinct state, leaving him broken and bleeding on the ruined courtyard. The savior is down. The prince is dead. The planet is entirely open for liquidation. That is when a massive green and orange kinetic comet slams directly between Black Frieza and the fallen Saiyans. The dust clears to reveal Orange Piccolo and Gohan Beast standing side by side. Gohan's hair snaps into a towering, jagged platinum gray, his crimson eyes burning with a terrifying, uncalibrated rage that completely matches the dark pressure of the tyrant. They do not fight for Saiyan pride, and they do not fight for a good match. They are the final line of defense for a dying world. The collision between Gohan Beast and the ultimate evolution of the tyrant transforms the ruined landscape of West City into a localized gravitational anomaly. Gohan does not wait for strategy, and he does not drop into a traditional martial arts stance. The sight of his father broken and his world on the brink of total annihilation triggers an absolute, unrestricted evolution within his hybrid biology. His towering, platinum gray hair pulses with blinding white arcs of bioelectricity, and his crimson eyes burn with a predatory, cold fury that completely matches the oppressive, dark pressure of Black Frieza. Gohan takes a single step forward, and the sheer, uncalibrated mass of his aura causes the surrounding air to combust into a bright purple and crimson flame. Black Frieza's dead eyes narrow for a fraction of a second, recognizing that this is not the predictable, refined divine energy of the Saiyans. This is a manifestation of pure, unadulterated mortal rage. Gohan vanishes from sight, moving at a speed that completely bypasses the concept of linear time, reappearing directly in Frieza's blind spot. He drives a heavy, Kai-infused fist straight into the tyrant's jaw, a strike so colossally dense that the resulting shockwave shatters the clouds across the entire hemisphere, creating a massive, ring-shaped vacuum in the atmosphere. For the first time since emerging from his 10-year training chamber, Black Frieza is visibly rattled, his head snapping back as he is hurled through 3 mountain ranges in a fraction of a millisecond. But the cosmic tyrant did not spend a decade in isolation just to be overwhelmed by a hybrid's anger. Frieza stabilizes his body in midair, his matte black skin smoking from the friction, a cold, jagged grin spreading across his face. He flings his arms wide, unleashing a continuous torrent of thin, hyper-concentrated black death beams that slice through the earth like a razor through paper. Gohan does not dodge the incoming barrages. Moving purely on animal instinct, he meets the lasers head-on, his beast aura acting as a physical shield that diffuses the lethal energy on contact. Gohan closes the distance, wrapping his hands around Frieza's tail, and slams the massive tyrant repeatedly into the melting concrete before throwing him upward into the sky. Gohan places 2 fingers to his forehead, his hair flaring into a blinding, jagged silver as he molds every single drop of his remaining life force into a single, terrifying attack. He screams a name that echoes across the ruined continent, firing a colossal special beam cannon that is not the traditional purple, but a blinding, transcendent platinum white. The beam cuts a straight line through space, its immense gravitational pull dragging the surrounding buildings and debris into its orbit as it races toward the tyrant's chest. Frieza stops his ascent, looking down at the incoming light, realizing that trying to absorb an attack of this caliber will result in his own destruction. With a low, gravelly grunt, Frieza compresses his entire black form into a localized, razor-thin sphere of obsidian energy, using his maximum defense to deflect the trajectory of the special beam cannon. The beam grazes his shoulder plate, completely vaporizing his left arm down to the bone, before rocketing out into the solar system, entirely obliterating the planet Mars in a silent cosmic flash. Frieza hovers in the upper atmosphere, his chest heaving, purple blood dripping from his ruined shoulder onto his black armor. He looks down at Gohan Beast, who is panting heavily on the ground below, his platinum aura beginning to flicker and fade from the immense toll of the blast. The tyrant smiles a cold, beautiful smile, realizing that while the hybrid possesses the raw power to kill a god, he still lacks the infinite stamina of a seasoned conqueror. Frieza raises his right hand, creating a massive black supernova that fills the sky, ready to wipe the entire solar system off the star charts to ensure his victory. The survival of the entire solar system narrows down to a single, agonizing war of attrition as Gohan stands completely alone beneath the shadow of a dying sky. High in the upper atmosphere, Black Frieza hovers with a mutilated left arm, his face twisted into a mask of pure, homicidal malice, as his remaining hand sustains an obsidian supernova that expands until it blocks out the stars. The gravity generated by the massive black sphere begins to peel the outer layers of the Earth's crust directly into the air, turning chunks of solid bedrock into floating ash. Gohan refuses to back down, even as his towering, platinum gray hair begins to flicker and drop out of its maximum output. The hybrid warrior anchors his boots deep into the exposed mantle of the planet, his crimson eyes locked onto the tyrant above. He knows that if he fails to hold the line for even a fraction of a second, the entire planet will be reduced to cosmic dust. Black Frieza releases a low, gravelly laugh that echoes through the burning atmosphere, shouting down that a half-breed monkey cannot outlast the patience of a galactic emperor. With a casual downward motion, Frieza drops the colossal black supernova. Gohan does not try to dodge, and he does not try to deflect the blast. He throws his entire body directly into the path of the falling star, outstretching both palms to catch the crushing, obsidian mass with his bare hands. The immediate kinetic impact forces Gohan to his knees, his muscles tearing and smoking as the pure, weaponized mortality of Black Frieza's energy grinds against his beast aura. The heat of the collision turns the surrounding air into a blinding, vacuum-sealed furnace, melting the stone beneath his feet into a boiling lake of magma. Gohan shrieks in absolute, agonizing pain, his bioelectricity flaring wildly as his arms begin to crack and bleed under the sheer, uncalculable weight of the supernova. He can feel his consciousness slipping away. The physical toll of his previous maximum output special beam cannon leaving his cells completely depleted of stamina. But every time his knees buckle, he looks back at the broken forms of his father and Piccolo lying unconscious in the ruins behind him, and his primal, untamed Saiyan bloodline violently forces his body back into alignment. Gohan refuses to break. He forces his feet back into the molten earth, his teeth grinding together so hard they shatter, pushing upward against the massive black sphere with everything he has left. High above him, Black Frieza's confidence begins to warp into genuine, unadulterated panic. The tyrant looks down through the smoke, his chest heaving as he watches a single, exhausted mortal successfully halt the momentum of an attack meant to erase an entire quadrant of space. Frieza channels the absolute maximum capacity of his remaining power into the blast, his matte black skin cracking open to leak glowing purple blood, trying to crush Gohan through sheer, brute force. Yet the harder Frieza pushes, the more Gohan's platinum aura drops its wild, uncalibrated rage, settling into a cold, terrifyingly dense state of absolute finality. Gohan holds the line for 10 agonizing seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, turning his own failing biology into a permanent, immovable wall that the ultimate evolution of the tyrant cannot breach. The sheer, sustained friction between Gohan's unyielding wall of defense and Frieza's maximum output supernova creates a massive spatial paradox that the local fabric of reality can no longer calculate. A high-pitched, metallic whistle fills the air as the space around them begins to warp and turn inside out. Goku and Vegeta, who are slowly dragging themselves out of the rubble far below, look up through their blurred vision, realizing that this absolute desperate standoff, has bought them the one thing they never expected to get on this day. They have time. The impossible stalemate between Gohan's raw endurance and Black Frieza's collapsing supernova creates a cosmic ripple so violent it pierces straight through the fabric of the mortal realm, vibrating directly into the sacred, obsidian depths of the divine world. Deep within his temple, thousands of light years away, Beerus, the god of destruction, violently snaps awake from his slumber. He does not yawn, and he does not complain about his sleep being interrupted. His yellow eyes glow with a chilling, ancient intensity as he feels a mortal signature that has officially crossed the threshold into absolute divine rebellion. The sheer weight of Frieza's weaponized mortality is threatening to unbalance the entire structure of Universe 7. Beerus looks over at Wise, his face a mask of absolute, uncharacteristic gravity, telling his attendant that the lizard has finally forgotten his place in the food chain. Without waiting for his staff, Beerus vanishes in a blinding flash of deep purple light. Back on Earth, the atmosphere is on the verge of total collapse. Gohan's arms are bleeding from the bone, his platinum beast aura flickering like a dying candle as he uses the very last drop of his hybrid stamina to keep the obsidian supernova from touching the planet's crust. Black Frieza screams down from the heavens, his matte black skin tearing open under the strain, pumping every ounce of his remaining power into the crushing sphere. Then the universe completely stops moving. The roaring wind drops to dead silence. The crackling bioelectricity freezes midair. The massive, continent-sized supernova simply halts its descent, its immense gravitational pull entirely neutralized in a fraction of a millisecond. A single, lean figure steps out of the empty air, standing directly on top of Frieza's black supernova, as if it were nothing but a common stepping stone. Beerus looks down at the massive sphere beneath his purple feet, a look of profound boredom on his face. He doesn't drop into a fighting stance, and he does not use a transformation. He casually taps his clawed toe against the surface of the universe-destroying attack. With a low, echoing pop, the entire black supernova is instantly converted into harmless, drifting particles of purple stardust. Black Frieza stumbles backward in midair, his remaining eye widening in an absolute, paralyzing terror that strips away all of his decade-long confidence. He points his shaking finger at the deity, stammering that he spent 10 years in isolation, specifically to surpass the limits of the gods. Beerus looks up at the tyrant, his voice a quiet, terrifying rasp that vibrates through the bedrock of the entire planet. He tells Frieza that he trained to surpass the Saiyans, but a monkey king is still just a monkey, and a god does not negotiate with the livestock. Beerus raises a single purple hand, his palm open, facing the ultimate evolution of the tyrant. A tiny, violet orb of pure, concentrated destruction energy materializes at his fingertips. He whispers a single, final word into the dead silence. Hakai. There is no massive beam explosion. There is no dramatic scream. Black Frieza's obsidian skin simply turns to a brilliant, sparkling violet ash, starting from his remaining fingertips and spreading rapidly across his chest and face. For a single heartbeat, the silhouette of the universe's most terrifying tyrant is outlined in divine light. And then, the wind carries the dust away into the vacuum of space. Frieza is completely, permanently erased from existence. The threat is gone. The tyrant empire has lost its head. The solar system is saved, but the sea fighters are left broken in the dirt, staring up at the terrifying reality of the entity that actually governs their universe. Beerus lands heavily on the cracked earth, looking at the unconscious form of Goku and the exhausted, bleeding Gohan. He notes that the mortals have grown entirely too loud and wraps his cloak around his shoulders, warning them that the next time he has to wake up early, he will erase the planet along with the problem. This divine intervention completely resets the cosmic chessboard of the universe.